Hello everyone, Ellen Woodbridge here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. Welcome to the Stamp Around the World video hop for September. This month we are showcasing our favourite bundles, and my favourite bundle is the beautiful butterfly. This is available in the annual catalogue. It has been around for a while and it is still my favourite. So it consists of a beautiful stamp set. I adore the sentiments and of course I adore the butterflies. And then it comes with a hybrid embossing folder. I'm going to put a piece of paper behind it so you can see it. So an embossing folder and a die set, and basically this big die here cuts this butterfly, and I'm going to show you how that works today, creating this gorgeous card. So I've used all pinks and purples. My colour palette is Bubble Bath, Fresh Freesia and Petunia Pop. I have added a bit of bling with Winker Stella, so I will try and show you that, and I've added some embellishments. So first and foremost, I just want to show you, if you want to use the embossing folder plain, that's great. This is 1/4 of a piece of A4 cardstock and I've just run it through the embossing folder. So you get this beautiful embossed look. Now, to start creating the card, I'm going to show you how to use the hybrid part, which is cutting out the butterfly out of the center. So you can either then use the plain butterfly, or like I am today, use it as a window and pop in the other butterfly. Okay, I don't need the body yet. Okay, I'm just going to pop these over to the side because I'm still going to need them. Bring in my, oh, not quite yet, but I have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine beside me here. So we have a raised side and a recessed side to our embossing folder. So I'm going to take this die, pop it on the raised side, and it just locks in. So that is locked into the shape and it isn't going anywhere. Next, this is 1/4 of a sheet of A4 cardstock, so I am going to cut it down a little bit and I'm going to pop that in the embossing folder. I'm quite happy with that orientation, so I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now I have this preset up for a 3D embossing folder, which this is. So I've got plate number 1. I'm going to put my embossing folder, my paper and my die in, and then I am going to pop in plate number 4 over the top. And I'm just going to crank this through. Now there is a little bit more pressure than using a normal 3D embossing folder, but it isn't anything that is stopping me cranking this through. Okay, so pop that on the floor. Okay, so when we open the folder and I remove the die, what I have when I remove this is I have my cardstock base piece and I have my butterfly. Now I'm not using the butterfly for this project. I will use it for another project another time. Now while I have this here, I will bring in my sample. Now I'm going to cut this down later and do that, but I have done this in Bubble Bath and I'm going to now cut my outline, or not my outline, my detail butterfly and the body. So I've got that. I've got this piece. So these are going to be out of fresh freesia. And then we're going to use the Petunia Pop base. So that's going to help everything pop for me. So I'm going to bring back in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we are going for our traditional cutting sandwich. So I have plate number 1 already in there. I have plate number 2, a cutting plate number 3, and I'm just going to flip that over there. And I need my cardstock. So as I said, fresh freesia. Going to pop my butterfly on here, grab my body as it tries to slide there, pop another plate 3 on top, line it all up, push it down, and crank through. I could have already had this all done, but I really wanted to show you how well all these pieces die cut and emboss, because that is the whole point of a hybrid embossing folder. Okay, so I have my body that came out perfectly. That die can go back on my magnetic sheet so I don't lose it. So this came out pretty well. I am just going to I throw it down a little bit on my mat just to remove any extra pieces, which are almost gone. That comes out of the die perfectly. I do have a few little pieces left. I will deal with those after this video. And I'm just going to grab my take your pick tool. And of course, my whole piece just came off. But that is an easy fix, apparently. Line it up and lock it in. There we go. It's locked in now. Now I can't pick up my butterfly. Okay, so I just have a piece here, piece there, and a couple of little ones just there. Let me see. Have we missed anything else? No. Okay, so while we are at this point, I think I have just going to remove all of this scrap. And I am going to bring in my silicone mat, and I'm going to cover these pieces in Wink Stella because I want them sparkly, but I also want them dry. So in my sample, I did use a blending brush and some ink on this butterfly. On hindsight, and feeling it now, this cardstock is very, very soft and rather delicate, and it's because I added ink as well as adding Wink Stella, which is a liquid, and it is going to soften the fibers of the cardstock. So I have just chosen for this version of the card just to add Wink Stella. So it's going to look a little bit lighter, and I think I am finished doing that because I did want a fairly rough kind of job. I didn't want it super perfect. So I'm just going to pop this over to the side to dry. And next I'm going to do my hello. Now I think I did, or I thought I did, have a little piece of paper, but I don't. So I have my hello sorry, just so I have my hello from the stamp set here already mounted on a block, and I'm going to stamp on Fresh Freesia with our Petunia Pop. So that is going to give us a really nice contrast, and it's going to bring that Petunia Pop all the way from the card base to the front of the card, which is always such a lovely look. Just close this. There we go. Not going to get too much ink everywhere. So now I'm just going to do a hand cut around our hello. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the rough cut because that is going to make life so very much easier for me. Okay, so I'm going to start with what I think is the easiest bit, and it is almost a straight line. Then I'm going to do some curves all the way along here and just roughly follow the letters that are already there. Then come around the O and just angle back in towards the L's, and then I'm going to cut that off, because when you start hand cutting, that extra cardstock just creates a bit of drag, and I particularly find it quite difficult at a point of that to actually get it really nice and smooth, because I'm dragging that extra weight. Okay, that is my hello done. Now I am going to pop those bits off to the side. I'm actually going to show you this up close, and it looks a little bit rough. Now, and by rough I mean the edges. So how I fix that, I pop it upside down, I take my bone folder and I run it across the whole piece actually, but I do just run it over the edges. And as you can see, I have now mostly smoothed out those edges. Okay, so now, do you know what? I think I used different colours. I did. I have no idea what I did differently, but I do like it. Doesn't matter. It's still going to end up being a fantastic card. So whilst I have this piece ready, I am going to use some dimensionals if I can open them up. I think I'm going to take out all 3 sheets here, and I'm just going to use my brand new sheet. The edges can be used later at some stage. So on this one, I think I just need one big piece in the middle. Okay, so now I'm going to bring back our card front. Now at the moment it is a little big, so I like to keep it a little bit bigger so then I can frame this butterfly how I would like it. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer. Now I know I want to take off about 1 centimetre. Now that may sound like a whole lot, but I promise you it's not as scary as you think. I just take little bits off as I go. So I'm just concentrating on the top and the bottom at the moment. So I want this to be 9.5. So I'm actually taking a lot less off the top than I did off the bottom. Okay, so now I want to take probably 1/2 centimetre off each edge, and just, if it's not perfectly centered, that's okay, but I don't want it to be glaringly different, if that makes sense. Now, sometimes embossed pieces don't want to cut from the edge, so what I did just there, I took my blade to somewhere in the middle and then just went up and down. So that is the sized piece that I want. I'm going to bring in, as I throw it on the ground, please bear with me just a second. That was a very long way down today. Okay, so this is my very light pink blending brush. So I'm going to take my bubble bath just to give the edges a bit of a punch. Now, I am going, what you would think right now is a bit heavy-handed, but this will dry back. And I actually like the way it highlights the embossed pieces, and I love the little dots in the embossing folder. So it's like added all this detail, and all we've done is pop this through an embossing folder and cut the middle out. We really truly haven't done a whole lot, but the detail is in the products, which makes our life as card makers and crafters super duper simple. I do just need to clean the ink off here. There we go. And just dry it off. This is just plain water. Sorry for the little bit of squeakiness. So now what we want to do, I do have my Petunia Pop card base here. So I'm going to fold this in half. We're not doing anything to the card base, but what you could add on the inside is some of our other butterflies. You can even add the big one in the middle and just add some of the other little butterflies, and that would look amazing. And of course we have a little dottage stamp which would work wonderfully as well. So this piece is actually lifted up to give us a little bit of interest. Now, I'm not shy on using these, especially on this piece, because we do have that window. Don't need that. And I'm going to support the antennae piece here. I meant to put it in the center, but it doesn't matter that it's not. So just those places that are a little bit thinner, like here, I just need to give a bit more support so they don't sag. Okay, and obviously the middle's blank, so we don't need to pop anything there. And one there. I think we are all good. Okay, my take your pick tool with the crafter's picks I need now. I love my little hook piece to remove the backings. It is just perfect for me. I know some people love the straight piece. I just love this hook piece, except for when everything sticks to me. 1, 2, and 3. Let's take that one off. And then they all just come off as one in the rubbish. And more rubbish is coming on. This one does not want to move. There we go. Oh, my dear word. There we go. We don't want the offcuts on our card. So this is where I take a big deep breath and hope for the best. And hoping for the best actually worked really, really well. Now this card is not sitting flat at the moment, so I just want to burnish this edge a little bit more. So it's starting to come together. We've got our fantastic window here, and I'm going to take our cutout piece and pop it in there. So you can see the petunia pop really does make that the fresh freesia really, really pop. I know you can see a color difference, but this piece is just a little bit more sturdy. So I just want to put glue on the body because I still want it to have a fluttering aspect, if that makes any sense. So it just lines up perfectly in the opening. Now it looks really, really weird at the moment because we haven't got the body, and the body balances everything out. But because we've got this pre-die cut piece, I always find it very difficult putting on the body and then getting it to sit right in the opening. So I always put the wings down first, and then I can line up our body and antennae just like so. So now we have our little sentiments, so you can definitely see the color difference, so you can choose whether to ink or not to ink. So we have our little sentiment here, and I chose something smaller on purpose because I didn't want to take away from what was already there. Okay, so I've got that right there in the nook. And just to finish the card, I have grabbed out the frosted iridescent dots. So these are a newer embellishment, and they come in Balmy Blue, Berry Burst, Gorgeous Grape, and Clear. And I'm using the clear because they have that purple iridescence to them, and they just pick up beautifully on what is already on the card. And two of these, I thought, just finished off the card perfectly. So these are the two cards I have used to showcase my favorite bundles. So I will bring all those products in again. Actually, I'll try and show you this up close and in person, just so you can try and see that Winker's Stella. And I've used a beautiful butterfly. So you've got the gorgeous stamp set, you've got the embossing folder, and we have the die set as well. So the die set and embossing folder come together if you want to buy them separately, or you can get them as a bundle with the stamp set dies and the embossing folder. So don't forget, from these two cards, I do have these two gorgeous die cut butterflies that I can use on another project. So I always like to go, oh, what can I do with these? So in the comments, I would love you to tell me what your favorite bundle is, and don't forget to check out all our other video hop participants. I look forward to seeing you next month with a brand new theme. Thanks, guys. Bye.